Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content, price fix content. All these videos, they get posted on this subreddit. I'll have it linked down below. And I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. People talk strategy here. You can ask me questions leading up to lock about the slate, pretty much anything you need. This will be linked down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right here. So before we get into the video, I do show you guys my lineups every single day so you can gauge how I am doing as a player. It was a solid day for me. Unfortunately, all the contests were full by the time I got home. So I guess I always register the night before, but I forgot to. So yeah, unfortunate stuff. But yeah, it was a solid night for me. Showdown core today was Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Stephen Curry. That went well. Steph, I don't know what that game was. Unfortunately, he is washed at this point in his career. Just that Klay Thompson game. If any of you guys played Klay Thompson today, that is just brutal. And then, yeah, main slate, my core today was Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox, and Stephen Curry. Luckily, the Curry game, I was still able to get into the cash. But yeah, it was a solid day overall. Had some nice days in Discord too. If you're looking for more DFS content, prize fix content, sportsbooks content, I'll have my Discord link down below. We swept prize picks today. Now it comes down to tomorrow to see how everything else kind of lays out, because we have plays for tomorrow out already as well. So we will see there. But without further ado, let's get into the slate. Should we start with Miami, or should we start with I guess we'll just start with Miami. All right, so Terry Rozier out, Duncan Robinson probable. I mean, this rotation, it's going to be a mess. There's a lot of different ways they can go about this. First off, does Kevin Love get backup 5? I don't think even if he gets the backup 5, it's going to be enough for him to really be viable in DFS personally. So I don't see myself playing any Kevin Love at 3.9K. The question is, now, I don't think Jovic is going to play a ton. Like, do they start him? Do they not start him? I think there's a number of different ways they can go about it. I think the bulk of the minutes here for Miami are just going to be Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. Caleb Martin probably plays high 20s to around 30 minutes, maybe low 30s minutes. Then Jamie Jackus Jr. should get a decent amount of run, maybe like low to mid 20s minutes as well. And then possibly Jovic probably gets, it's tough to say. He could play low 20s and I wouldn't be shocked. He could barely play, I wouldn't be shocked. And then Highsmith, he'll be in the rotation at least. Good defender, right? I believe he played extremely well in the playoffs last year as well, and he's been playing really, really well down the stretch. But I have no confidence in his minutes at all whatsoever. So more of just a dart for me. And then with that being said, we'll see what they do with lineup, etc. If Jovic comes off the bench, I would not touch him with a 10-foot pole. If he starts, like I said, I'm not confident in the minutes. So, yeah. But let's go. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero up at the top. I honestly think with Terry Rozier out, my favorite play here, point per dollar, is going to be Tyler Hero at 7.5K. Must-win game here going up against the Sixers. I would expect close to 40 minutes from him. With no Terry Rozier, he's going to do a lot more ball handling. He's going to stuff the stat sheet. Should play big minutes. I don't mind the spot here. I think it's decent point per dollar play. I like his ceiling as well, because Tyler Hero is a guy that's going to shoot the ball probably 15 to 20 times. And when he's making his shots and stuffing the stat sheet at the same time, he really does have that type of ceiling. So I think Hero is a good point per dollar play. Jimmy Butler, I mean, it's the playoffs, right? I would expect high 30s minutes to maybe around 40, maybe possibly over 40 as well. Another guy that's going to stuff the stat sheet. It's playoff Jimmy Butler. I don't think I need to say much more. He's always going to be a really, really good play in the playoffs. I never buy into narratives, but Jimmy Butler in the playoffs is absolutely a real thing. It's just no, it's a real thing, right? So going to stuff the stat sheet, good rebounder, good scorer. Don't mind the spot going up against the Sixers. She'll play big minutes. I think he's a good spend up. Now, looking at his price range, it's kind of tough. So Jimmy Butler will probably be low owned tomorrow, which I don't mind in GPPs. But you have Trae Young at 9.2K, who I think expecting to play a ton of minutes. You have Nikola Vucevic for cheaper in a phenomenal spot. You have DeMar DeRozan in a phenomenal spot at the same price point, who I think plays massive minutes tomorrow. So it's kind of tough. You're going to have to make some tough calls, because there are some good plays in this mid-range. But yeah, I think all three of the main Miami guys here for Miami look pretty decent point per dollar. I think Butler's my favorite straight up. I think Carroll might be my favorite point per dollar, but I think they're all solid respective plays. Bam Adebayo, I'm a bit worried about foul trouble going up against Embiid. He's my least favorite. of the grouping. Tough matchup, but good defender, can get steals, etc. Double upside at times as well. She'll play big minutes. I think they're going to need Bam out there. Anytime Embiid's on the court, I think Bam's going to be out there. So I would expect him to play at least 40 minutes in this spot going up against the Sixers. So all three of the top guys here look solid. And like I said, figuring out the rotation here is going to be tricky. I don't think Jovic is going to play a ton here. I think Caleb Martin's probably going to get the bulk of the minutes at 4.8K. I think it is decent value at 4.8K. Guy that can stuff the stat sheet. I would expect high 20s minutes, possibly low 30s minutes at 4.8K. I do think he's a decent value at forward. And if you want to throw darts on like Highsmith and just pray that they play him high teens to low 20s, I guess you could do that. We could possibly see like a DeLon Wright in the rotation. I'm not entirely sure. I think they personally probably run 8 or 9. So like Butler 1, Bam 2, Tyler Herro with 3, Duncan 4, Jamie 5, Caleb 6, Jovic 7, Highsmith 8. And then possibly one more. Good chance. Like Love could DMP, etc. They could just run 8 here. And then Duncan at 5.5K, I would expect over 30 minutes from a guy that has ceiling when he's hitting his shots. I don't think he's a good point per dollar play at this price point. But on 2-game slate, when he's hitting his shots, we know he has the type of ceiling to break off a slate, right? He can go for 40 fantasy points every single night. So he's not out of play for me. Just more of a large field GPP play for me. I'm not going to go out of my way to play him, but if he fits and he wants ceiling, sure, I think it's fine. And I definitely prefer Caleb to Jamie. I think not really, personally not close for me, but Jamie should play in the 20s minutes, I would guess. Another stat sheet stuffer, it's fine. Like I said, I think I prefer Caleb. And then I'm not touching Jovic. If he comes off the bench, I'm just absolutely not touching him with 10-foot pole. And even if he starts, probably not going to go there. But he is at least playable. Terry Rozier's out. They're going to have to play guys more minutes, but he is my least confident of that grouping of like Jovic, Martin, Jamie. For sure. Not out of play. If he's chalk, I think that's probably going to be some pretty bad chalk if he is, for some reason, popular tomorrow. All right, time to go over to the Sixers. So the rotation here is going to be, well, we know starting lineup. It's going to be Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre, Kyle Lowry. Then you're going to see Buddy Hield. I would expect low 20s minutes from Paul Reed. Will get some backup 5, maybe 8 to 10 minutes max. Batum should play anywhere from mid-20s minutes, in my opinion. You might see Campaign. I would expect Campaign to play a little bit. And I think that's it. So they'll play Embiid 1, Maxey 2, Harris 3, Kelly Oubre 4, Buddy Hield 5, Kyle Lowry 6, Paul Reed 7, Batum 8, and then possibly Campaign 9. Joel Embiid is the best spend up on the slate, in my opinion. I would expect close to 40 minutes here at home going up against Miami. Bam has done well against Joel Embiid in the past, but I'm not too worried about that. More healthier this time than he's been in the past as well. Like I said, should see big minutes. He's their go-to guy. He has one of the highest usage rates. Not worried about it too much. I think he looks phenomenal. I absolutely love Joel Embiid. If you feel confident with the value to fit him, we'll talk about some value on Atlanta. It's pretty disgusting, but I'll talk about a punt over there. Tyrese Maxey, I don't mind as well. I think he's decent too. 8.5K. He plays better with Joel Embiid in the lineup as well. I would expect 42, 43 minutes here from Tyrese Maxey, which makes his floor plus ceiling even higher with the amount of minutes he's going to play. And I don't mind him playing alongside Joel Embiid either, right? I think it helps him, honestly. And if you think Miami, they play a lot of 2-3 zone. So what that does is in 2-3 zone, it's very, very easy to trap. So if they play off 2-3 zone, they could trap Joel Embiid a lot easier. And what that's going to do, if you think that happens, it's going to open up the door for a guy like Tyrese Maxey at 8.5K. It's going to open up the door for shooters, guys like, Buddy Hield, possibly Kelly Oubre, right? So intrigued there by Tyrese Maxey. And then we get to this grouping of Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre. If I were to play one here, I think it would be Tobias Harris. I'm very, very confident that he is going to play pretty much all the minutes that he can handle tomorrow. And I think the price point is a little bit too cheap. Good rebounder, good scorer, should play big minutes. He'll run the offense at times when he's on the court by himself. Maybe not in this game because they're probably all going to play just huge minutes, but 6.2K does seem a little bit too cheap for Tobias Harris. I definitely prefer him to Kelly Oubre. And then we get to Kelly Oubre at 6K, who is, he has a ceiling. I think it's very, very similar to like Duncan Robinson, where like if he hits his shots, he has this type of ceiling, couple of the slate, couple of the doors off the slate. I don't think the price point really stands out to me. I think he's too close in price point to Tobias Harris, where I'd just much rather play Tobias Harris. And also the minutes, like there are times where they can always just go to Buddy Hield over Kelly Oubre, etc. So the minutes aren't as secure on Oubre or Duncan, to be honest, compared to his teammates, right? But he could play 35 minutes tomorrow, and I wouldn't be shocked. But yeah, I do prefer Tobias Harris to Oubre. Buddy Hield, I think, is a guy that should play low to mid 20s minutes. Another guy that has a ceiling, that's going to have open shots, going to have a lot of opportunity. I think he's a playable value at 4.6K. I wouldn't say he's a really good value. I would just say he's fine as like a filler piece. If you need it, more of like a last piece in filler value if you need it. And then Kyle Lowry should play decent minutes. Stat sheet stuffer. I think he's a decent value for this slate. Has nice eligibility with the point guard and shooting guard eligibility as well. So do like Kyle Lowry for value. Batum's playable. I prefer Kyle Lowry, and then Paul Reed should get the backup 5. I don't think it's going to be enough for me to consider him, but yeah, he'll get the backup 5. And then Campaign, if he plays, I don't think it'll be enough to consider as well. All right, let's move on to Atlanta. So you got to think about this rotation. No Jalen Johnson, no Okongwu, no Vit Krejci. They didn't sign him, so he is no longer with the team. Who is going to play? They are going to run these guys into the ground. So let's think about it for a second. Trae Young 1, DeJounte Murray 2, Capella 3, Bog 4, Hunter 5, Bruno 6, Garrison 7, Wes 8. That's it. That's what I think the rotation is going to be. And their bench is just putrid, absolutely putrid. So I think you are going to get these main starters ran into the ground tomorrow. So with that being said, let's start about the punt that is absolutely disgusting, but it does make things work in Garrison Matthews. I would expect around 20 to 25 minutes from him. A guy that when he hits his shots does have a ceiling. Like I said, they don't have anyone else to play here. So I would expect decent minutes for Garrison Matthews tomorrow at 3.1K. It's absolutely disgusting. But I actually do think he's a solid value for this slate at that price point, especially if you want to go to like a Joel Embiid or something like that. You're going to kind of need more value, right? So I don't mind Garrison Matthews. I don't think I've ever said that in my career, but I don't mind it. I think he's firmly in play as a pump play. And then, like I said, you're going to see huge minutes for the main guys. Bruno Fernando will get the backup 5, but I do think they're going to tick up Capella's minutes. I would say over 30 minutes here for Capella tomorrow, possibly more. So I don't think I'm too interested in Bruno Fernando at 4.5K. If you were to play a backup center, I think Bruno is your best bet on this slate. I definitely prefer him to like Paul Reed, because I think he's at least going to play over 10 minutes. But even at that price point, if we're giving him 10 to 15 minutes, it's not ideal, right? So don't have too much interest there. Now we get to the main guys. I think Trae Young is one of the better spend-ups on the slate. He was on pace to play 40 minutes here up against Indiana, and the game blew out. I would expect close to 40 minutes from a 9.2K Trae Young in this spot going up against Chicago. Now, not the best spot. Chicago, they play slow, right? They're good defensively, but he is too cheap for the minutes that he is going to get tomorrow. Stat sheet stuffer, going to get you a double-double most likely. Good scorer as well, going to chuck when he's out there. It's do or die. I think Trae Young's a really good spend up. DeJounte Murray is playable. I'd much rather just play Trae Young for $300 more. And then we get into Capella. I do like Capella tomorrow. I don't think a ton of people are going to play him at this price, but I do think there's a good chance he just plays a ton tomorrow. And we know he's a really good point per minute guy, over fantasy point per minute guy. If you give him 30 plus minutes, even at this price point, he's going to grade out still as a solid play. And his ownership, I don't think too many people are going to be on him tomorrow. So I do like Capella there. I do prefer him to Bog. I do prefer him to Hunter. Bog, kind of the same category as like, you know, like Kelly Oubre, but I feel much better about Bogdan Bogdanovic's minutes than I do about the others. I think he plays another one, all the minutes he could probably handle tomorrow, probably mid-30s if I had to guess. He's the ceiling. I think the price point's right, but he's at least playable. And then I think Hunter plays almost the entire game. They don't really have wing depth, right? So I think Hunter's firmly in play, very safe, should play all the minutes he can handle. Already went over Bruno there. And then we did talk about Garrison Matthews. All right, probably one of my favorite teams to target here. Andre Drummond, I don't expect to play tomorrow. And then Ayo Dosunmu, I think, will be playing. So with that being said, DeMar DeRozan and Vooch, I think, are two of the best mid-range plays in the slate. I think I absolutely love both of them. I'm expecting Vooch to play over 40 minutes tomorrow. I don't expect Drummond to play. He should play all the minutes he can handle. I absolutely love Vooch. I think he's one of the best center plays in the slate. I love him. DeMar DeRozan, really, really good play at 8.4K. I'm expecting high, might play 44 minutes again in a really good spot, pace-up spot going up against Atlanta. I really, really like DeMar DeRozan. Both the top two guys here look phenomenal for the Chicago Bulls. Don't forget about Kobe White, Ayo. I think they're decent plays as well. I'd much rather just pay up for like a Vooch DeMar, but I think they're both solid. Caruso is very, very safe. Very, very safe. I would expect low 30s minutes from him, maybe even high 30s minutes. Another statute stuffer. Very, very safe play at 5.8K. And then if everyone's in, I don't know if I pay 5K for Javonte Green. And then they're going to run such a tight rotation here. It's basically impossible to play anyone off of the bench. Now, if I was out, Javonte Green should move in the starting lineup. He'll be a decent play, and then you'll probably see a bit of like Dylan Terry, but I don't know if it's enough to go there. Would at least be playable in large field GPPs. And then if I was out, it's going to be more bumps to the main guys. Kobe White would be a better play. Vooch, DeMar both look even better. And then Caruso would be a decent play as well. So there's a lot to like here on the Bulls tomorrow. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for the slate. Hopefully this helped you guys, and I will talk to y'all in the next video.